Today I want to show you how to tweak the fantastic work Alejandro made on his very popular video about Langchain app with Python. Following previous video structure, I will show you how to create the Docker container for the Streamlit app and will present you with a more user-friendly version of it that allow us to input the API keys directly on the UI interface. But before we start, thanks again to Alejandro to publish the video and make the initial code accessible to all of us. It is 1 hour long of valuable content, but if you are in a rush, let me tell you the key concepts you need to know. A Langchain is a framework designed to facilitate the creation and integration of conversational AI applications by using language models and various NLP tools. Langchain uses embeddings to help computers understand language. It takes words and sentences, turns them into these special number codes, embeddings, and then uses them to make the computer do things like chat or answer questions. The vector databases come into play by storing all these number codes. When Langchain needs to understand something written or figure out how to respond to a question, it looks up the right codes in the vector database. Think of a vector database as a huge library where all these number codes, embeddings, are stored. Every word or sentence that's turned into a code gets its own spot in this library. Last but not least, we have our large language model. We will be using GPT as our LLM, but you can also use some open source LLM like Llama 2 or Mistral here. Let's create very quickly the Docker file to create the Docker container of the Streamlit app that Alejandro prepared. We can see which dependencies we need already here, and we will expose port 8501. For the vector database, we will be using Facebook AI Similarity Search. We could use other vector DBs like Pinecone or ChromaDB if we want an open source vector DB. The embedding model, we will go with OpenAI embeddings, but we could also use Word2Vec or Glove open source models. The original app version require us to fill our OpenAI and Hugging Face API keys in the .env file. But as mentioned, I want to tweak it so that we will be asked directly in the web UI to provide them. Let's execute in parallel the Docker build command to create our Docker image of the Streamlit app with Langchain and embeddings. These are just cosmetic changes that will allow us to feed the API keys via the Streamlit UI or directly as environment variable. And as mentioned, we will be using OpenAI LLM model, FICE as vector DB, and OpenAI embedding as embedding model. Now let's just run our container image. Let me do it with CLI this time, but you can also use Portainer like we did in previous videos. And now, it seems that our container with the app is already running, so let's check the Streamlit UI in port 8501. Let's feed it again with a very secret paper. Wait for the embedding model to process it and generate our vector DB. After a few seconds, we have the PDF information already embedded on our FICE DB, so we can now ask to the LLM about our secret paper. And here we have the reply. Look at that. You can now play with the prompts, feed more than one document, or change the models to chat locally with your docs. Let me know in the comments, what are your plans to integrate this powerful tool in your workflow? Stay tuned for more.